What would be especially useful for you today?
Really, after I just took the LSAT, really, taking it again in November 25th. So I really want to talk about more of training, more training, regarding like all three phases of the test. I did decent. I mean, I didn't do decent on tests, but I did decent regarding like studying habits. I didn't complete actually one section of the test. Of course, I filled it in, but really just more study tips and habits so I can do well in November.
Sure. Okay. So which section of the exam is giving you the most trouble right now?
The most trouble, I would say probably reading comprehension.
Okay. And what's your current approach to reading comprehension like?
Okay, so when I took the Kaplan course, basically, read the passage, kind of like get the main idea, the topic, the scope, and I kind of fill that out through the questions. But it's like my comprehension struggles in a sense of like trying to retain information and answer the questions in a timely manner.
Sure. Sure. How many passages have you done?
Overall,
Yeah, overall.
not many. See, that's the problem too. So
Okay.
probably maybe 10 to 12.
Okay. So 10 to 12 passages is about 3 sections of reading comp.
Mhm.
And so before the exam, you've got to do far more than that so you can really start to see the patterns between passages
Mhm.
and see what kind of information ends up becoming relevant or important. Like, what are the main ideas? Where do the main ideas typically appear? LSAC has a certain style. These passages, they are not from the real world. LSAC uses real world information as inspiration, as source material, but then they rewrite it in a way to make it more boring, in a way to make it more legalistic in a certain sense, where they're having two different sides with different viewpoints. And so you've got to
Mhm.
just got to do more passages, I think.
Okay. Um, I could I could sense that because I do more logical reasoning more than anything because I don't know, I feel like counts the most. But I started to pick up on patterns uh, regarding for logical reasoning as well. And then for logical reasoning, I'm having a hard time really. I get the last two, I X out all the questions, but I get to the last two and I always pick the wrong one. So do you have any like
Yeah, sure. So for logical reasoning, of course, process of elimination is important. It is useful. And when you're down to two, you're between typically, I would imagine, the correct answer and a really tempting wrong answer. And so this is where your review process comes in. For every question you have difficulty with or get wrong or are not 100% sure on, you've got to look at what was tempting about the wrong answer choice that made you pick it or consider it, and what ultimately makes it wrong, and what's discouraging about the right answer that pushes you away from it, and what ultimately makes it correct. Because there are patterns, as you said, and you've done more logical reasoning, so you start to see the patterns there more. And it is worth spending more time on it because it is half the exam. But a lot of reviewed work to be done. And if let's say if hypothetically you were getting a 170 on your practice tests, that would mean you were getting 10 questions wrong and maybe guessing on another 10 to 15. So that would be 25 questions to review. And if you're scoring lower than that, that means even more questions to review. Maybe you've got 40 to review. That takes
mhm.
a long, long time because if you're spending at least 5 minutes per question you're reviewing, 5 times 40 is like 200. That's over 3 hours.
Mhm.
This is a really time consuming process, but it's worth it.
Okay. Thank you for that. So sorry, going back to reading
Yeah,
comprehension.
sure.
Regarding basically, I need to read more passages. So maybe, how many passages do you think I should do a day reading regarding answering questions until November 25th?
I think it would be fine for you to do at least 2 sections of reading comp a day. So that's 8 passages a day minimum. And you could take days off and you could also do full length timed exams as well. But 2 sections of reading comp would be under timed conditions, an hour and 10 minutes. It's okay if you take longer because if you run out of time, but you still want to finish the material, it's okay if you take longer. So this could take up your entire study day potentially. If you did 2 sections of reading comp with some sort of time pressure and then review those afterwards, that could take 3+ hours. That could be enough for that day. And then you also want to be doing at least one timed exam a week to work on your pacing and endurance.
Okay. Yeah, I'm doing that through Khan Academy. I'm actually taking it on Sunday. So
Nice.
they have me on schedule to do one every week. I needed get more practice with that. So as far as logic games is actually my best section. Out of like 23, I get about maybe 11 to 13 correct. And I want to get to maybe the 15, 18 point. It just takes me a long time. It makes sense to me. It just takes me a long time to, build up
Like the main diagram?
yeah.
And how many sections of games have you done?
So me and my friend, overall, I've done logic games 1,000 times. Maybe 10 to 12 sections.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's a lot, but there still is a lot more to do. If you think about it, there's nearly 100 released exams, 88 of which are numbered now. 87, 88 are numbered. And so that means that you've got 88 sections to do, plus the unnumbered ones, that you could do 400 games before walking into test day. So 10 to 12 sections would be about 40, 50 games. So there still is a lot more available to you. And again, the more you do, the more you'll see the patterns. Games are also the most perfectible section on the exam. So I think it's worth spending a lot of time there too, because you could theoretically get a perfect score on games, maybe get a couple wrong, but they don't have the same ambiguities of language that reasoning and reading comprehension do. So just basically more games, more reviewing what correct diagrams could look like, reviewing what kinds of upfront inferences you can make. And I think you'll start to see the patterns there too.
Okay. Well, thank you for that a lot. So I need to do 2 passages of reading a day, logic reasoning. You think I should do a section of logic reasoning a day as well?
So I don't want to layer too much on top of you at once to do in a day, because I mean, it'd be great to work on everything every day, but more reasonably, you could do, I'd say half your time on logical reasoning makes sense because it's half the exam and there's room for improvement there. So you could do 2 sections of reasoning plus 1 section of games. Another day, do 1 LR, 1 RC, and just mix it up. Just mix it up and do a section, at least I'd say ideally at least 2 sections a day, while allowing for the occasional off day. And then just reviewing everything you do. On the weekend, you could do your full-length time diagnostic, review that as well. Also, if you notice any weak areas, like in particular grouping games or must be true questions or science-related reading comprehension passages, you could also work on those a bit more often as well. So maybe some days you don't do timed work and you just focus on weak areas. And maybe you do practice problems in that weak area and you also review foundational material on those weak areas, whether it's like watching a video related to that topic or reading a chapter in a textbook about that topic, just to brush up on the theory as well.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm trying to make a big jump this next one so I can possibly get into some prestigious law schools. But thank you for everything. I watch your stuff every day. I literally just watched your video about what people don't study well on. So doing a great job. Actually, a frat brother of mine gave me your link about your class, your free course you're offering. That's great. Very greatly appreciated for that. You're doing a great job. I watch your videos every day. So if there's anything I could do to help, please let me know.
Thanks so much, Jordan. I really appreciate it. Yeah, of course. All I ask is that you, of course, spread the word to others who are studying and might find the material useful. And before we sign off, what would you say is the biggest insight you got from our call today?
The biggest insight I got from our call, really just kind of like knowing how to study in a different way, doing a whole section maybe a day instead of doing maybe 1 reading passage and blowing it off like I've been doing. So really more in depth of the knowledge of what I'm trying to do. So I got that out of this today.
Awesome. Great, Jordan. Really glad to hear it. Keep me posted as you move forward. I'm happy to help however I can.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.